I've always viewed the process of maturing as gaining the ability to create change. As a child, the world appeared at my fingertips, but it was elusive. I felt it in my palms, but it was still out of reach. I wanted to alter the universe through pushing and pulling. The world was my oyster. I just couldn't yet pry it open. I trusted when my legs grew longer and my mind grew wiser, the ability to create change would come. Now, at 18, I know adulthood isn't reached when a jar of salsa is independently opened or a line of candles on a birthday cake are extinguished. These cliche events mark the passage of time in our lives, but something more than time shapes us into this elusive concept of an adult. I supposedly reached this paramount while sitting under a tree in the midst of June as a sense of unparalleled power washed over me. Clipboards are the universal symbol for being in charge. The summer of 2013, I worked as a camp counselor on an island off the coast of Maine. I'd been promoted from lowly, unemployed teenager to tax-paying citizen. When I held that clipboard, I was suddenly taken seriously. I shed my childhood skin and stepped into much larger, much muddier shoes. Shoulders back, I scanned my clipboard detailing my newfound obligations, a group of 10 sunburnt second graders. With great power comes great responsibility, and the clipboard brought a summer of highly anticipated shoe tying and camp song singing, but it gave me a little more than a sense of self-importance and a list of activities. Every Monday morning, I was given a 6 or 7 sheet packet referred to as med notes. Med notes were any separate comment put on a camper's application. The information ranged from allergies to illnesses to social disabilities. Most of it was pretty basic. Stay away from shellfish, reapply sunscreen every hour, and most interestingly, allergic to girls. I'd sit under that same tree where I escaped the binds of childhood and read through my set. I believe the purpose of the med notes were to prepare the counselors for the week ahead, but some of them just made me feel too small for my clipboard. History of abuse, no stable family life, PTSD, just lost mother to cancer, feels unwanted. I racked my newly adult brain for how exactly I was supposed to prepare for a 7-year-old who feels unwanted. Over those rainy weeks, I started to learn. I made sure my campers ate their lunches and drank lots of water. I laughed at their knock-knock jokes and taught them how to stand like flamingos. I put Band-Aids on their scraped knees and twirled with them through open fields. I exerted an excess of kindness wherever I knew there was a deficiency. Because of the med notes in the back of my mind, I always knew they needed all the love I had. Because of the med notes, I always worried a little bit more when I sent them off to their bus. Because of the med notes, I'd ask them how they were doing and really care about their answer. The only function of the med notes was to give me a brief recap on all the hardships a second grader endures. It was a lot more than I had planned for. In the face of this sudden influx of tragedy, my first instinct was to assume it had something to do with the island. In counselor training, we learned that incest is most prevalent on islands, and the campers we'd be working with would not be impervious to the sweeping epidemic. I thought about 10 kids I worked with this summer, and then 10 kids in my English class last year. None of the students back at home had went through anything as tough as any one of the kids in my group. It's the island, I thought. But it wasn't the island. It was the med notes. See, second graders don't run around screaming, "I'm suffering," any more than 11th graders do. I only knew these things from the med notes. On the first day of English class, I wasn't given a 6 or 7 sheet packet detailing what every student was dealing with. Life doesn't come with med notes. There are no public records on who needs kindness. There is no gatherable information on who wants you to ask how they're doing. It is impossible to take someone at face value and knows who needs the extra love. The clipboard taught me how to create change through giving, but outside of camp, it didn't exist. I was wandering blindly through a sea of broken hearts, unsure of where to stitch things back together. Having a clipboard didn't make me an adult, but learning to live without one did. We have to accept what we don't know, understand that we can never be sure of who needs our empathy. The only solution is to give it out anyway. The Greek philosopher Plato once said, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle." We have to exude kindness whenever given the opportunity, throw it up in the air and hope it lands in the right spot, send for help before we know where it's going, give out all the caring we have, knowing that someone, somewhere, will benefit from it. The lessons I was given at camp helped shape me into the person and so-called adult I am today. My summer with a clipboard taught me how to play capture the flag and tie 2 different kids' shoes at once. But the most crucial thing I learned is why we should always smile and say good morning, why we should ask people how they're doing and really care about their answer, why we should tip our noses over our clipboards long enough to make someone feel important. It's absolutely imperative to always listen and to be kind and to care, because you never know who really needs it. You never know what would be in their med notes. Thank you.